Hey everybody, this is Jeff here with NVG Games for a brand new weekly web series. This is called Future In. And what is Future In, you might be asking? Well, it's going to be a weekly series, as I mentioned, on Wednesdays where we talk about different things related to Nintendo that might happen in the future, things we might want to see, predictions of things that we think might happen, future systems or games that may be released or are going to be released, could be confirmed or unconfirmed, could be rumors, anything that may be happening in the future related to Nintendo. So in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX, which of course is Nintendo's code name for their next system. It's currently unknown whether it's going to be a console or a handheld or a hybrid of the two. Most people are leaning towards the hybrid theory, and I agree with that particular theory. My personal opinion, I think it's going to be a kind of work in a similar fashion to the way the Microsoft Surface does, the tablet, where you can dock it in kind of a thing to connect to your TV, and then you can also take it on the go with you as a handheld. So this will work kind of similar to the Wii U gamepad as well. You'll have the dock where you can connect it to your TV, as I mentioned, and it also functions as a charger for the unit as well. So you don't have to worry about batteries or anything like that, which is nice. But that's what I think is going to happen with it. And of course, it will have HDMI support for going to your TV and everything like that. Now, I also think that it's going to be releasing by the end of the year, probably Christmas of this year. Nintendo tends to release their platforms in November here the past several generations, so I'm thinking probably like middle or end of November is probably when they're going to be releasing the system. Now, that's of course not confirmed, but maybe we'll get more information at E3 here in a few months. They're rumored to be showing off the system for the first time there, so hopefully they'll do something with that, maybe in a Nintendo Direct, or maybe they'll actually do a actual press conference this year, but probably just the Nintendo Direct event. They seem to be more keen to doing those lately, so we'll keep you informed about that, of course, and we'll have coverage of that when that happens. But I'm going to show you a few mock-ups here of potential NX designs that other people have come up with, and they'll have links there in the post here and description with credits to them, of course. Since I didn't do these, I'm not very graphically inclined, so these are just some mock-ups that I found online through a simple Google search, and I thought they were kind of interesting to look at. So here's the first one. So this, as you can see, takes the kind of like Wii U gamepad type of idea and makes it to a smaller form factor, so it's a little bit more portable, kind of like a elongated phone type of size. And it has the Super Famicom color scheme of buttons there, the X, A, B, and Y, and the blue, red, yellow, and green colors respectively. And I like this design. I think it's simple and easy to grasp, and it's familiar enough with if you've played Wii U extensively like I have, to where you are automatically used to it, and it's a similar form factor to handheld systems that exist as well. So I think that's a pretty good idea, and of course I don't know, we have no idea what the system's actually going to look like. Nintendo's filed patents that seem to indicate it's going to have a screen, and it may have virtual buttons, it may have physical buttons. That's unknown as of right now. It may do a combination of both. I personally would prefer physical buttons. I don't think that virtual buttons would be such a great idea, because if you've ever played a cell phone game, you know that they tend to get in the way of the game when you have your hands on the screen and you're doing like this number and trying to control the buttons on the screen, and you're blocking your view, so you can't really see what's going on, which to me that's really annoying. I have fairly large hands anyway, so that doesn't bode very well for mobile gaming, and that's why I think physical buttons would be better. But who knows, maybe they'll have the option, if they do go the virtual button route, of giving you like a kind of a Circle Pad Pro type of thing where you can dock it into a physical button form factor to make it easier for people like me. If they do go the virtual button route, I would hope that they would do that. That would definitely be beneficial. So here's the second mock-up that I found that I thought was pretty cool looking. So this takes the kind of the 3DS model basically, and changes it around to make the whole part of the lower half of the system the screen, and it has the buttons there and the joysticks as well, and you can see that the screen kind of wraps around those. So obviously developers would have to design their games with that in mind if this was to actually happen. And you can see there has two sets of shoulder buttons on the top as well in this particular mock-up, and it's got the new 3DS or Super Famicom color scheme of buttons as well, which is also a pretty neat thing. I'm not really sure about the bottom there where you see the home button, and I guess that's supposed to be start and select or plus and minus, whichever you want to call them. I think that the red there needs to be screen as well to make it the immersive full screen experience, as the text there says. And I don't know about the positioning of the joysticks as well. I think those should be a little bit lower if they're going to go with the joystick as the main control method. This particular mock-up looks like the control pad will be the main control method for moving your character around, for example, because that positioning tends to work better for that. And as with this particular mock-up, they're at the top of the screen, which is going to be harder to do, I think. It'd probably be better suited to be at the bottom of the screen or in the middle, one or the other. So here's the third one that I found. This is just the console itself, and it takes kind of like a modern take on the NES look, and kind of combines that with a PlayStation type of look as well. So they have the whole slot there you can see, and the sensor area where the writing is on there. I can't tell if that's what that says. I have no idea. It could be like it says streaming new Super Mario Brothers, and then it has, I think, maybe some Japanese characters below that. So it's like an LED type of thing where it would tell you what you're currently doing, I guess, is the idea behind this particular concept. So I think this looks really slick and nice looking, and it's just a pretty cool thing. And not really sure if that's supposed to be a slot for cartridges there that's open, and then there's a slot on the left of that for discs or what. But it looks pretty cool, and I wouldn't mind seeing them go do something similar to this as far as the looks go. Though personally, I think that they should not do the overhang style, which you see on the far left there, like Sony did on, I think it was one of the PlayStations. I forget which one. May have been 2 or 3, but one of the original designs they had that overhang style, which I personally don't really care for that. I don't think it looks even. Well, I guess that's the intent behind it, but I like the evenly stacked design better personally. So here's the last one I found. This takes the Wii U gamepad idea and kind of expands on it, and you can see this kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier with the dockable idea, and I think that's what this particular person who did this concept was thinking as well, because you can see that it has kind of like a smaller pad or device on top of the larger pad, and one would assume the smaller one would dock into the larger one. So the smaller one would maybe have virtual buttons like we were talking about earlier, and then the bottom one would have the physical buttons, as you can see, and you would dock into it if you wanted to play at home, or you can take it on the road with you when you're out and about, and use the virtual buttons on the screen when you are traveling. And I think this is probably going to be similar to how it's going to work, like I mentioned earlier with the docking thing. I think that's the way they're going to be going with it, and I would not be surprised at all to see that happen. They've already tested the waters a bit with the gamepad, as I mentioned. They already have the charging cradle dock, and all they got to do, really basically is add an HDMI output onto it, and so you can plug in the controller directly into the charging cradle / dock, and you can plug the charging AC adapter into the wall, and you can plug your HDMI into your TV, and you're good to go. So that's what I think is going to happen with that. Now, as far as what they're going to actually show at E3, I think we're going to probably just see the system and possibly the controller, maybe one or the other, maybe both. But I think they're going to do the system and controller. That's my prediction right now. I don't think we're going to see any games. Uh, that they'll probably save that for a Nintendo Direct in a couple of months after E3, maybe a few months after E3. That's when they'll probably do a full big reveal of the launch titles for the system. That's what I think. They may have something behind closed doors for some of the larger um, media outlets and that sort of thing, and retailers and that sort of thing. But I don't think they're going to have anything publicly available for people to view on their Nintendo Direct event or at the show itself, because I don't think that they're ready to show that off unless Zelda U is going to be a launch title, which I think that is definitely going to be one of the launch titles for the system. They're going to go the Twilight Princess route with that and port the Zelda U to the NX, and it's going to be a launch title for the Nintendo NX whenever that releases. And again, I think that's going to be November of this year. Yeah, I would not be surprised though to see it delayed till end of next year. They tend to be doing a lot of delays here lately, so that would not be too unlikely to happen. So we'll have to wait and see, of course. And that's pretty much what I think is going to happen with the Nintendo NX. And you can leave me a comment here on the video below to let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree, or what your thoughts are, and we'll have a discussion about it. You can check us out at nvideogames.com for Nintendo news, screenshots, trailers, and lots more good stuff. And you can follow us at facebook.com/nvideogaming for Facebook following, and on Twitter at twitter.com/nvideogames. And we follow you back on there as well. So, and we can, you can keep up with our site and videos and all kinds of good stuff that way as well. So again, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.